All right, coming to you once again with some straight content, short video. Should you really care about her past? Should you really care about her past? This is like one of the big things that Red Pill Twitter, Manosphere, guys really obsess upon a woman's past. And the answer to the question is, yeah, you should care about her past, but how much should you care? And this is a really important thing. And I pissed off some guys on Twitter the other day, but this is an important thing. You got to understand yourself. All right. One of the things that's so important if you want to be successful with women is you have to understand yourself and you have to understand your own impulses, because otherwise you do things and you choose women and you get upset about stuff. You have emotions and you have no idea where those emotions come from. So I triggered a bunch of people on Twitter by saying essentially that you're not really upset about her past. You're upset that you're essentially not her best. You're not upset about her past. What you're just worried that you're not her best sexually. And this is really important because, guys have a bunch of different reasons why they say it's important, to vet a woman's past. So the main reason is because they see the statistics on divorce and on relationship success, and it's pretty clear data that the less sexual partners a woman has, the less likely she is to divorce, right? And then you have the other thing, which is that, well, you don't, the insecurity that it creates in the guys are very loath to admit this, but just that, it's kind of disgusting even that she's done things with their guys, in the sense that she's done things with their guys that, you know, she's not going to do with you. So she kind of damaged goods, right? So guys are upset about the fact that they think it objectively means that she's damaged emotionally and won't be able to pair bond. And they think, obviously, that's disgusting, that if she's done a lot of sexual stuff. And they're worried about her judgment. Is she going to have good judgment in a relationship going forward? Can they trust someone with that judgment to be a good mother? But then the one that they always miss under the surface is the insecurity piece, which is that, do they really care about that stuff to the same extent that they care about their ego? Because here's the reality. And you have to really look at yourself in the mirror with this. You have to really look at yourself in the mirror with this. If you are dating a hot girl and she is all about you and it is absolutely incredible sex, best sex of your life, and she just loves sex, she loves having sex with you, and she tells you that you're the best sex that she ever had, and she has a pretty storied history, be honest. Do you care a lot about the number of notches that she had? How much do you care at that point? Does it matter as much to you? Now, some guys are going to say, yeah, it does matter as much. But I think the guys who are being honest here know that the emotions start to get complicated all of a sudden, because you're not feeling necessarily as insecure about yourself versus her past history, essentially. You're not as threatened by her past. And so because a lot of these arguments that guys talk about, the disgust factor, the judgment factor, is she going to be a bad partner? Is she going to divorce? All that stuff is true, but mostly used as a shield for guys to justify that they just feel really insecure that this girl has had, more orgasms or done things that with other guys that he's not going to be able to give her. And you just got to be honest about that. Now, does that mean you shouldn't care about a woman's past? Because, a lot of guys are really, they're really one-dimensional thinkers and black and white. And so when I say something like this, their response is immediately to be, Well, so what you're saying, Pat, what you're saying is that you shouldn't care at all about a woman's past, and that it's okay for a woman to be a total slut, and that a guy should just get over it. I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this. I think that a woman's past does matter. And I think you do need to take into consideration issues of, her judgment and any sort of emotional trauma and pair bonding damage. I think that stuff is completely real. And I think it's legitimate to, if a woman crosses a certain threshold, I do think, she's doing like gangbangs and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's legitimate for you to be disgusted and be like, you know what? I don't want to, have that, own that. I don't want to have that as my woman. I don't want that to be the mother of my children. And I think women need to think very carefully about the stuff that they do, because they need to think to themselves, will a man want me as the mother of their children if I do this stuff? And of course, a lot of women will keep stuff secret, but I think it's really important for women to think about that stuff before they go down that rabbit hole, because there's a certain point where a woman becomes like a genuine slut, and at that point she can't really come back. It's very difficult for a woman who takes that path to redeem herself from it. So I think you should care about a woman's past, but I also think it's important to understand the context of the times that we live in. So if a woman had a one night stand, does that mean that she's damaged goods? I mean, you've got a pretty high bar in modern society. And we have to also understand the influences that have been put on us by modern society. And that a lot of women do these things simply because it's the crowd. It's not stuff that they're really aligned with. They may have done it when they were younger and naive, and it was everybody did it, and they were single after a breakup. And I think it's important to also have a level of compassion. I know a lot of guys don't like giving compassion to women who've had sex before them, but I think if you're gonna have a healthy relationship, you need to be compassionate, and you just need to understand that a lot of women, they're figuring things out for themselves too. They make mistakes, and just like you've made mistakes. And if it's capable for you to learn and grow past things, if you had some one night stands and you realize it wasn't for you, well, maybe why is it impossible for her to have had the same experience? I will close with this. I don't really think that on a fundamental level, a woman's past defines her. What matters is awareness of it. And so if a woman is able to take ownership of her past, and if she's able to, understand the mistakes and where they came from and how it happened, then I think that you can fairly safely throw out most of those, dubious statistics about girls and sexual partners. And but what you're looking for is a woman who's conscious and who's aware. A woman who's done that stuff but hasn't even thought about it and has just gone through her life as like a walking program, and has just done things that other people have, so she was in college, so she hooked up, then she hooked up when she was living in the city, and then she met you and she was going to go get kids. Those girls, because everything's very unconscious, they don't even know why they're doing things. Those women are, you should be very cautious about their past. And I think it's also a red flag if women are not forthcoming about their past. Not that I fully blame them, because men tend to take that information in a very bad way. But even still, they need to have enough ownership to be able to come forward, and that you are going to accept it. And I think it's important, there's a lot of guys who will say, if a woman gives you a number, double or triple it. And look, I don't think that you should take a woman's number at face value, but you get used to, you can start to pick up BS and when a woman is lying and when she's not. Trust but verify. You can kind of ask her some stories and you'll start to get a picture. Are there periods of her life where there's a lot of history that she hasn't talked about? But women who are forthcoming, I mean, trust is the fundamental thing here. And I want you to understand this. And I know this, again, will fall on a lot of deaf ears, but super, super important. When a woman tells you this stuff, when she wants to be with you, when she's really attracted to you, you're really attracted to her, you guys have a great connection, and you guys can be open about the stuff, you can be open about the mistakes, you're not really comparing to past men in that situation. I mean, you're way above the other guys, way above the other guys at that point, because she's able to be that open with you. And most women don't even feel the capacity to do that. So the answer, of course, if you get down to it, is you should care, but it's complicated. And I think you need to understand her past and you need to take it in a contextual basis, weigh all these different variables. But if a woman is aware and if she's open about her mistakes, that bodes well for a lot of the things that maybe she's done. And we have to also accept the fact that because women are growing up in this messed up world like we are, that we're going to have this level of compassion and understanding for the reasons that they made certain decisions they made at certain times when they were growing, just like you've done that. So otherwise, I mean, we can hold on to our egos and we can judge everybody based on their past, but that's not going to get us really far, because very, very few people have not made some sexual mistakes at this point in time. So take that for what you will. I'll see you next time.